I wanted to ask you, what do you think has made you relevant for all these years?
There's no such thing as a dumb question. Don't pretend you know, ask.
Sometimes people want to replace. The moment you're trying to replace, you're going to have a problem.
Like Black travel has become a movement. People may be looking at me like,
why are you here?
We are all connected. So join me as I talk to like-minded people about topics that are appropriate to the current times we are living in. My name is Lerato Shabalala and this is Relevant.
Hi everyone, welcome to Relevant with me, Lerato Shabalala. Remember, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more of these podcasts. Remember to like, share, and spread the word. We are also on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify or anywhere else that you listen to your podcast. I'm so excited about my guest today. We've known each other for a long time. I have been one of the people who love wearing her stuff. I'm actually wearing her stuff right now. So if you know who this is, you know who this is just by looking at these. She's an entrepreneur who lives eKaslami, Soweto. Kaslamakasi. Sphelele Chikowi, I'm so excited to have you as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as a lover of accessories, to see what you have done with the Ntozinhle brand, going from starting with accessories and earrings to moving into the home and accessorizing the home. It's been amazing. But I want to start right at the beginning, right? First of all, how are you? Before Nick sharing my question.
Question. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm in a good space.
That's amazing. And you were saying before we started recording that you don't do a lot of these interviews. It's not really.
I don't. Yeah, it's not. I don't say yes to a lot of them. So, but when I saw which you were like, okay, I have to do this one. This one knows me all queen.
Exactly.
You know, you must. I always say you must not forget the people who saw you when you were invisible.
Yeah.
You must not even. You mustn't.
No,
So,
I've always been so. Listen, from the start, I didn't care. I was just like, I remember the fashion editor at True Love, Palesa Mahlaba, came to me and said, listen, you have got to see this woman. You have got to see her stuff. And not only did we put you in the magazine, but we also wore your stuff ourselves. I mean, this is one of many of yours that I have, as you know. And Nyaza, Epiri Street, guys, Orlando. I go and I buy because I love what you do. But what I want to say, is that I want to start at the beginning because you turned misfortune into fortune. And now we're living through a pandemic, and a lot of people are facing really difficult things. And it's very hard to pull yourself out of that depression or out of that hopelessness. And you had a car accident that not only was very serious, but you were said that it was said that you were not going to be able to walk. And during this time, you found beadwork. I want to know what was the thing that pushed you, because Bunzima, you know it's very hard when you are depressed and you are down and you are physically also not okay. Where did you get the strength from? I think both of us are praying women. We believe in God. We believe in the angels. And what is the thing that you pulled on that made you go, you know what? Okay, they say I want to walk. I've got nothing to do. I don't know if I'll work again, but no hope.
Yeah, I like the last line. Hope, But the thing is, Mina, I've always, my mother thinks I'm cuckoo, but I've always had a vision. I've always seen myself you know, before we bought the house in Orlando. So I've always seen myself living better than the life and so me wanting better, I could not give up on God. I could not give up on myself, because giving up on God, giving up on the possibility of living a better life meant accepting the disability grant from a government.
Sure.
You know, and so I really had to trust Utukulunkulu that what he has shown me, he will bring it to life. Because I saw way before people could see, you know, me, I saw a better life. I don't want to lie. We grew up, you know, the growing up poor, sharing a forum house, lala pants, and all those things. And I remember speaking pictures of nice houses, cutting them out from a magazine, saying to my mother, no, this is the life that I want to live, you know. And so that kept me going, because I knew, Guti, there's more to life than accepting a disability grant. And I remember, because when I got injured being in the salon near my dreadlocks, but for some reason I didn't even want to go back to the salon. And I remember that, you know, I loved beadwork. And I remember there's my late friend who taught me beadwork, who was used to make leather bags, handmade. So I just, you know, remembered, even my customers used to love my beadwork, but I could, because I didn't want to go back to a salon, because I was home, I thought, okay, let me just focus on my beadwork and see what is on his side, is on Tata life in this thing. And this is where I am.
Sure. I mean, just look at the mercy of God and what He can do in your life when you let Him order your steps. You know, it's amazing. So, like, was it something your grandmother taught you? Was it something your mother taught you that made you? Because that was your soul trying to, and your spirit, and trying to bring you back to where you come from. So, where did you start beadwork before the accident? When was the love? Where did the love come from?
The love came from a friend, because the friend began my leather bags. He used to make the bag and then and add beadwork on the bag. So beadwork was not my mother and Tunga. She was not interested in beadwork, but she was she was very surprised when I came home, and I'm like, you know, I've made earrings, you know, and I actually started with wooden beads more than the glass beads, yes, because they were bigger in size. It's easier to learn with those ones because they're bigger in size. So the more I got skilled, I then went to smaller beads until the smallest size that of the earrings are Kogile right now.
Sure.
So I just found it's not something like I took from home. It's something that I found.
Oh yeah, and I think also it found you, right? It found you.
Yeah.
It's, you know.
Yeah.
So now tell me, you start beading, okay? Because you can't work. When does it go from being therapy, like, okay, this is Angfungbele Saloon, I'm taking up this thing. When does it go from a shack to a shop? When do you start realizing, hey man, I could make a business out of this?
I remember when because friends started buying my earrings and they're like, Ma, you know, we can wear them. And then I started taking my stocks to a salon. I went back to a salon, but now selling to the customers, not selling to my customers, and through word of mouth. You know, there's nothing as powerful as word of mouth. Then I'd get someone say, well, let them you know, I'm gonna get few of my friends to come down more figure, and that's how it grew, you know, from what Pitori used to call me Wanyana Masadi. And I go to corporate spaces, your SARS, your Auditor General with my earrings, and you know, the love of customers makes things possible, because one customer will say, come through, and then you find a Putini, there's more than 10 people wanting to see Putini Zenani. And you know, I then decided told my friend, you know, I want to get the product out there, but I'm not sure how to do it. And she was like, There's a girl, Uthuli Style, she does on my pop-up. Why don't you check with how she's doing, ask if you can join, and and just want to say thank you to Tuli for that opportunity, because I remember we went to a pop-up, I saw how things are done, and I was very inspired to see ladies coming through, Bam Supporter, and she was like, no, sure, the next pop-up you must come through, and it was amazing, from there, that's when I was like, okay, I'm ready to do this, but I think one thing, when you really want something, God will open doors, God will create doors where there are no doors. So it was, likely I told a friend who could, suggest, was okay, maybe try this way, and after that, I never looked back, because after that pop-up, I've had over 100 pop-ups. So
I know,
yeah,
from Eastern Cape to Pretoria to
yeah,
to Mpumalanga to KZN,
Botswana.
Botswana. I mean, you are out there, and so I want to ask you. Okay, mina ngiphuma eMidlands ezone 10, and Tina, people abaphuma eKasi, we don't, and certain types of us, angisho ukuthi wonke umuntu, but
Yeah.
the type of us who don't see ourselves as business people. When we hear entrepreneur, business person, we have an idea in our minds ukuthi umuntu onjani and what you need to be. What kind of shift did you have to do in your mind? The things that scared you, where you're just like, yo, imali, because now the business is much bigger. I mean, you have like 168,000 followers on Instagram. You know what I mean? You've got these pop-ups, you've got a manufacturing place, and in Mpumalanga. So did being a businesswoman intimidate you, or did you just surround yourself with people that helped you? Because I know it's hard, and I mean it for myself as well. It's hard to see yourself as a businesswoman when you're not like an MBA type of person. Go on.
True. Mina ngasho ukuthi, luckily I've never been employed, so I don't know. All I know is being self-employed. All I know is running a business. So for me, formalizing it and taking it to the next level, that was a bit of a challenge, because how Jobush would do, we get comfortable with what we're making, and thinking beyond what you currently making is not easy, and sometimes it means investing back in the business, which is something that I've seen Guti. It's not easy to invest back in the business with the pressure of wanting to prove Guti you've got a successful business, because what I see with peers, that when people start making money, then they want a bigger car, they want a bigger house,
Mm-hmm.
and not
office.
Yeah, and not invest in the business. So with me, I wanted bigger than what I already had. I saw, because Ntozinhle has been well accepted, well received, well supported. It meant I need to grow with the brand. Hence, now we have Ntozinhle Home. I need to grow with you guys, because when I started with you, we had just finished maybe a school, and now you're buying spaces and buying homes, and I'm also buying a place, and I need to grow with my customers, and so that has made me really want to formalize things, see Ntozinhle as a brand that even if when I'm not here, it will be a legacy for Bantana Bam to say, where mom left.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean,
I answered.
Yes, you have. I mean, you've got 3 children. And
4.
4.
Yeah.
4, manje.
Okay, I gave birth. I was pregnant 3 times, but I've got 4 children, because the last ones are my twins.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
You, as an Opianza Magati, strong enough to bear the children, then get back to business.
Yeah.
I know, Shem. I know. So, like, you have an aesthetic, right? I mean, this, for anybody who has not been exposed to Ntozinhle's designs, there is an aesthetic. when did you develop it? When did you decide? Because remember, I hit you up in December and I said, before President Avali country, and I said, look, I want to come and buy the planters, the Ndebele planters.
Yes.
And I'm saving up for those big mirrors. Nyeza, for the mirrors. Nyeza.
Oh, wow. Ntozinhle 5.
Awuzweke yabona ke ngithandela lokho. How did you decide on your aesthetic? How did you decide on the look and feel? There's a lot of Ndebele that comes through. There's a lot of color. There's a lot of celebration of us as abantu abamnyama, abenguni, which I love obviously as a Nguni woman.
Yes.
So where did you how did you start developing your aesthetic?
I think because I've always been, I don't know what they call them, about chalet, you know.
Yeah.
I can't even say this is, but you know, your chalet, your dreadlocks, your, because I loved jewelry even before I started selling.
Yeah.
So I think when I was recovering from from Oklimala, that's when, you know, I fell in love. I rediscovered who I was. You know, I don't know if it makes sense, but you know, that time being home, not, you know, gave me enough time to see Gucci. This is me, gave me identity and gave me assurance, Gucci. You can stick with this and claim it, Gucci. This is what Ntozinhle is. And I can't even say Ntozinhle as such because I don't know if you know, Gucci, you know, my business name is, I named it after a friend. You know, she passed away. Yes, she passed away when I was starting the business. I was cutting limele, and when we went to funerals, Safundi obituary, Ntozinhle. I'm like, Ntozi. All her life we've been calling her Ntozi. She never said Ntozinhle. And she had a beautiful name. And I didn't have a name for my business. I don't want to lie. And I'm like, no, me, I'm taking this. You know, I love the name. You know, and I'm like, okay, and she'll forever be in my heart. So I named my business after my friend Ntozinhle. And so when I came up with the name, it made sense for it to Ntozinhle and color. You know, that just formed an identity for the brand.
Sure, that's amazing, and I think maybe that's why it's so many of us Black women love and support you, is because even without knowing that the business is dedicated to one of us, you know. As Black women, we don't get represented a lot, we don't get celebrated, and what you do, I mean, your pop-up events, Sphelele, are amazing to see all those Black women coming together, trying on things. It's like a joyous experience. I mean, we were almost denied it actually by COVID, and I'm kind of glad that now things are easing up, because that communion, that community is very, very important. So now you do the beads, endlini uyi-one, and then when do you now go to my mind? When do you realize, yeah, I need more people? And how did you formalize it? Because obviously, it is a business district here in Joburg in South Africa, but
yes,
it's also quite an informal one. And to meet the supply, you need things to be done on time. So how did you start? How did you start getting work from the ladies in my mind?
I didn't stay a long time. Because one of the ladies introduced me to the Ndebele group. And so with the introduction of Abu Malawa Mandebele, things became much easier. I don't, because they're more understanding. And Wamaimai, it was a bit difficult because though Wamaimai, they are not the manufacturers now. They come from a Deben. So it's like, you know, no middleman in between. And so even when I want something done, though I'll explain to this one, but they also have to explain to the next person, you know? And so I didn't like that, yes. But then I was happy when someone said, okay, I think you Mpumalanga and meet this group of Abokoko who do beadwork. And I'll never forget that you know, that lady, because she she actually launched Ntozinhle because we never looked back since then, because the brand has grown because of those ladies, and because they could see which there's growth in being part of the brand. They invited abanye abogogo, and hence today we've got over 40 of ladies doing beadwork for us. And I had to formalize it, because though beadwork has been around, but nobody has taken the initiative to say, let me formalize it.
Yes.
Besides, obviously, white people who who always outsource from a bokoko and rebrand and repackage. But I didn't have Mtomnyama that I can look up to and say, oh, Mamos Banban is doing so much this beadwork.
Yeah.
And I decided, okay, let me be the one who does that. Let me be the one who change the narrative, and educate people. Good, there is people can make a living with beadwork.
Yeah.
And I always tell the young girls who recently is joining the group, your hands will feed you. You'll never go hungry, you'll never go hungry on your talent. And so, because some of them are depressed, they went to schools, there are no jobs. And I jokingly say, join Gogo, because you can see Gogo, it's got a smartphone, Gogo, there's an income. And I'll tell them, don't look down on your skill, because the skill list will take you to places. What you have will take you to places. And so it is my responsibility to formalize it. So that even the next young person on a talent can say, she made a living a talent. She didn't go to school. I can also make a living with my talent. Maybe it might not be beadwork, but whatever that God has given umuntu to do ngezandla zakhe, we should somehow find a way to encourage abantu ukuthi ungabhekeli phansi umsebenzi wezandla zakho. So I really had to formalize it, make it a brand that people can associate with. People abafundile, people abangafundanga can learn something from the brand.
Definitely. I mean, one of the things when I was looking at your interviews, one of the things you said, I think it was an interview from 2015, you said you don't have prices for local people and for international people. Yes, you live, the shop is 2 streets away from obviously one of the most famous streets, if not the most famous street in our country. Is the only street where we have 2 Nobel Prize winners in Umatib and Mbaptut. And you never moved. You never moved. You were just like, you know what? I'm going to formalize it here. I like Soweto. I like being here. And I'm not going to charge, because those tourists are coming, right? And
yes.
I will say this for all my friends. I've brought my friends from overseas. If you are headed to Vilakazi Street, for me, it's mandatory to go to Piri Street and go see Ntozinhle's building. It's just beautiful and just amazing. Why did you make your prices? Why didn't you hike them up for tourists? Why have you made a conscious effort to say, actually, I want everybody to afford me. I want the international person to afford me, and then I want Umamawa down the street to afford me?
I think it's important to get a product affordable, because when I target a tourist, I'm saying to Lerato, you're not my target market.
Exactly.
You see, and so and I don't want to work for amateurs. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I had it with one of the vendors, Basevilakazi Street, to say, for too long we made for too long they made amateurs their bread and butter, and COVID came. And because there were no tourists, they could not relate to the local market, And one of the reasons, maybe I might say, I'm lucky enough because I didn't make amateurs the foundation of the business, the only source of income for the business. And so when they stopped coming, I still had my local people who are buying the items to keep the doors open, who support us. And so it's very important, Uti, ube I don't know how to put it, but ube brand abantu.
Yeah.
Number one, the brand is Ntozinhle, and it will defeat the purpose of naming it Ntozinhle if the people cannot reach you, cannot buy from you, cannot afford you, you know, because if you can afford and like this thing, I would say I'm a pizza for a special occasion.
Exactly.
You know, the minute you price them expensively, the minute you make them expensive, we make them for an occasion. Because when people go out, that's when they want to buy expensive things. But for it to be every day, and every day your wardrobe, it needs to be affordable.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's still people who think I'm expensive, and I always tell them, you know, I'm not gonna lower the price just to make my customers happy, but the people who make these things don't prosper. The people who make them, I change. Because you know the sad thing, and I always want people to go to Kwandebele and see this. Young girls Kwandebele don't love beadwork.
Really?
The reason they don't love beadwork is because they've seen Abu Mama Baba and Abu Koko make this work day and night only to supply Mrs. Banban, who's going to take the stuff to a supplier. And in life, I changed, whether she worked overnight or she worked. Baphuza ne-dragon hleke nokuhleka ukuthi athi bengiphuze dragon malokazana yikho ngibereke ngaqeda. You know, they work day and night, but life, I change. You know, life doesn't get better. And so young girls don't love beadwork. And because of my pricing, and I've allowed them to charge me. No, I don't even buy beads. You know, for me with the group of Okoko, it's give me an invoice, I settle the invoice, and life change, you know. And only now when they've seen after a couple of years with it, you know, actually there's life in this. We can live, we can make a living. And that has been the reason with it. I'm not gonna be too expensive. At the same time, I'm not gonna have very low prices and undermine
Definitely.
guys. And I always tell people, check the beads. You can even try and count the number of the beads. Isn't it just that earring that? And if and it's not like you'll find one bead in where there's blue instead of red. There's order, there's discipline. So there's so much energy. And I always tell people, when you buy the product, you're not just buying the product, but you're buying the story behind the product.
Yes.
You're buying, you know, you're investing into my life's band. And for me, I'm happy when I go to Kwandebele. They invite me. Sinomsebenzi. They have a Thanksgiving, bayabonga. They've changed the roof, they've changed the floor, because they're just like that. When they do something, they always have a thankful ceremony, you know, they like that. And so it makes it worth it to wake up at 4 and drive to Mpumalanga. And I don't even make them bring the stock to Johannesburg. I wake up in the morning, I go, collect stock and bring it. Unlike Mrs. would make them come to Johannesburg and bring the item, and after that they must see their way back to Kwandebele.
Sure.
And so for me, I'm like, you know, I refuse, you know, because what's the point? Even the young ones are not gonna want to do this if Nami I come and continue, you know, and just make them work for food and nothing else.
That's why you're so blessed, you know. I think that's why you're so blessed. I think that's why you keep getting more and more blessed, is because you really do think of us. You know, like when I texted you, and I didn't text you in a long time in December, I was like, oh, this is blah, blah. And you remember all of us. You remember all of us. It's like it's like we're your children, you know. It's just a wonderful quality about you of just, you've created a brand that is a home, you know, for us, and it's so crucial. So I would think that's next, but when people think of furniture, they rarely ever think of our people, right? They think of my company, I won't mention names because we don't have to. And you said you did it because you were growing with us, right? So Mina, why I want the planters and the mirrors is because I don't only want to wear Black people, I want to have Black people be all over my house. You know what I mean? The art,
Yes.
everything. Just like I love us, and everybody who knows this podcast knows that I love us. So, were you apprehensive with your furniture? Like, where do I start? Like, or was it just like, you know what? It's an easy. Was it an easy transition?
Uh, Easy for me, but not easy to convince you. It was because remember, a lot of us who have made it, or a lot of us who have our own places, have a certain idea of a space.
Exactly.
And we watch a lot of people watch a lot of Pinterest and a lot of overseas minimalism, this and this and this, and me saying, you can have a beaded mirror. I remember one time I had a customer who wanted a beaded mirror, a runner, and the have a friend, yeah, I'll never forget this. I said, show me watching this thing, so watching this sangoma.
Hi, Bo.
Yes, and I was like, oh,
But
is it true? Then you see, that for me it was easy, but convincing my customers to say you can have a beaded cushion, you can have a beaded mirror, you can have a beaded side lamp. It was not easy because some people associate beadwork with Obosangoma and don't want to know, and but uNkulunkulu emuhle, he will give you customers.
mm-hmm.
He will give me a bolirato who see the vision, and because of Abolerato, who saw the vision, they were able to help me influence, the rest of the people to say, actually, you need to, it's a must to have an African piece in your house. Because I sometimes joke with my customers, just imagine and they're like, what did I? It's not like I've been to an African person's house, and and like I like to. Some of my mates used to take pride in owning Italian craft. Has me I'm Italian craft, and can we change that and not be proud, Gucci? Mina, I have Italian craft. Can I have 150 diameter beaded mirror and Ntozinhle in my house?
Exactly.
Yeah, but so for Mina, it was not too difficult, but convincing my customers. And like I said, luckily I have the likes of Abule Rato who makes it cool to be African, who makes it cool to to love the beadwork, and they've helped me. They post, they share, word of mouth, as I said, as much as we're growing with social media, but the best business is when someone says, a friend of mine referred me. A friend of mine, I saw this from a friend, and I think that's the best feeling ever to say. A friend referred me. I saw this from a friend's house, and I want it.
Oh, it's amazing. It really is. I have two last questions for you. So, and I'm not name dropping, I'm just saying, I'm telling a story. So in 2012, because I'm an Africanist, I love us. I brought some stuff on a trip to New York, including a lot of your things. And then there was a restaurant in Brooklyn called Madiba. And I'll see if I can share the photo with you guys. And it was one of those impromptu nights at Madiba where it was me, Victor Dlamini, who shot my book cover. It was Tandi Swamazwai. It was my friend Yolanda Sangweni. It was Kaya Dludla. It was Wayne. We all just ended up coming, all these South Africans on a random July day. And across from us was one of the loveliest people ever, Yvette, who is Beyonce's manager. And she's from the islands. She's amazing. And I literally took off my neck bead. It's like, the round ones when you first did this, and I gave it to her. And I was like, listen, this is a South African lady. And if you want to wear her, if you want to give it to be, like, it would be amazing for Sphelele to get the exposure. And so I want to ask you, with everything that has happened, what has been the highlights? Because you've had so many different people where you're closing. Taraji P. Hansen, when she was here, wore your stuff. Do you have a highlight? And I'm not saying it has to be celebrity. I'm just saying, do you have a moment that was like really powerful and impactful where you were like, this was special for me?
It's not easy to choose the highlight, but I think having Mama Winnie wearing my accessories for 85th birthday, that was amazing. I'll never forget that one. And I remember even the day also, like, I came to the shop and she bought the stuff, and later on she showed me, before Mama wore them for the actual birthday, my figure kuthi, "Jonga makhulu uzinxibile into zakho." And she sent me a picture of her ebedini wearing the neck piece, and I was like, oh.
I know.
So this has to be the highlight. And on the day of the 85th birthday, she was just draping in Ntozinhle. I was like, yo, if I was uNkulunkulu now, ngiyamazi uNkulunkulu. That was the highlight. And it's still one of the best highlights. Like that is, I can never thank Uzolega enough. I can never thank Mamuni for embracing, and it was not easy because, we gave her and the belly piece, and she's like, it's Xhosa. I'm like, but singabantu sonke,
Exactly.
and she loved it when the contrast of the black and white with the colorful beads. She was, at the end of the day, she was happy, and that has been the biggest highlight. That is still the biggest highlight of Ntozinhle brand or Ntozinhle story.
Oh, and she looked stunning. She looked stunning. What a hero. What a wonderful woman. What a wonderful, we miss her so much. Also committed to ICAS, committed to Soweto.
Yes.
Never left.
Never
left, just always committed, So my last question is, so my commitment to myself from this year and beyond is something that Oprah said when Talat Perry was opening the studios, and somebody said to her, she was standing next to Bishop T.D. Jakes, and they said to her, you look like you are living your best life. Like, you look like you're thriving. And she said, you know what? I live inside God's dream for myself. And I never forgot it, because us in our little minds, we have small dreams, and God's dream is so much bigger. We actually don't even know how big he sees and he will do for us. So what is your, what is the thing that will make you go, what is the highest vision you see for the Ntozinhle brand? What, umuphupha, honest, we are to the highest level. What is
highest? To see Ntozinhle Lifestyle stores, to see, for now, it's let me take a trip to a Soweto, but I don't want it to be a special occasion. I want it to be an everyday occasion. Yes. My biggest dream is to have stores across the country. Not, the same way I did the pop-ups, but let them be permanent stores where people can walk in and be proud of the brand and shop the brand, and not wait for the pop-up to come to Nelspruit, but have a store in Nelspruit, So that is my biggest dream.
Oh, let me tell you something. It will happen over, like, times tenfold, just because your heart is in the right place, and just it's gonna happen. And I can't wait. Minage, you've got me for life. Yeah. I'm so sorry for you. You can't get rid of me. Customer exactly. At home with Ntozinhle, as well as Ntozinhle_lifestyle on Instagram. They're on Facebook. Guys, bye. I just want to say, Sphelele, you're not only an entrepreneur, you're just an amazing human. busise nomndeni wakho.
Thank you.
Makwande business kube even beyond until you find yourself in God's dream for you. Thank you for being you.
Amen.
Thank you for representing us. Thank you for representing our people. May you continue to thrive. Never, ever, ever give up, because some of us are cheering for you. No, we may not call you all the time, but we love and adore you. You are a treasure. Honestly, Ubusiseke Sphelele, thank you so much for joining me on Relevant. Yabong.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye, Sissy.
Bye, Sissy.
Bye. If you loved my conversation with Sphelele of Ntozinhle Accessorize, remember to like, share, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to know when the next podcast is coming up, all you have to do is hit the notification buttons to see the next episode of Relevant. For me, Lerato Shabalala, I'll see you the next time. Bye.